This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in the last session, we were talking about different points related to SAP FICO business process. We try to understand what we will do as an end user, what we need to understand, and what we will be doing as a consultant, what points we need to understand. Now, yesterday we understood or we came to know that to become a consultant, it is very important for us to know basic fundamentals of accounting. Because in every module of SAP FICO, we will be recording debit credit accounting entries. It is very much important for us to understand, for us to know what are these accounting entries and how these accounting entries are recorded. With the help of this basic accounting, what we will do is we will try to refresh, we will try to recollect our basic fundamentals of accounting, whatever we are already aware of. It is not that somebody who is not from non-accounting background may be finding it a little tricky, but those who are from the finance accounting background, those who are working in the accounting domain currently, may be easily able to recollect what are all this accounting basic fundamental. Nothing wrong saying that I do not know basic accounting. Nothing wrong in accepting I forgot my basic accounting fundamental. It is okay. When I say it is okay, because even though you're working in accounting domain, your responsibility may not be manually recording a debit credit. Am I correct? Majoritarily,
Correct.
even
Yes,
though we
sir.
are currently working in accounting or finance domain, not necessary you will be recording a debit credit accounting entry. Reason, whatever the applications that we are using in our organization, it can be any ERP application. These applications are designed in such a way, even though you do not know accounting debit credit, still system will help you writing the debit credit accounting entries. Am I correct? Technically, you do not need to know what is debit, what is credit. If you put one side of the one side of the impact, other side it is automatically updated. And there are many things
Yes.
which will happen in the system with which practically we may not be working in basic fundamentals of accounting. It is quite common for everybody, nothing wrong in it. So when we say that accounting is important, it does not mean you will go open your accounting fundamental books, you will refer some videos, you will refer some blogs and all, not required. Because you are not going to become an accountant, you are not going to write any exam on accounting, nothing is required. For us to manage as a SAP FICO consultant, whatever the level of accounting knowledge which is required, all this level of understanding we will have in our sessions itself. You do not need to put any additional effort to understand accounting, as we will understand all the accounting fundamentals for a FICO consultant here itself. So by default, you will be recollecting, you will be refreshing, even though if you are new to accounting, you may be from non-commerce background, BTech, MCA or any other background, still you will be able to easily understand. Keep only one point in your mind, that you are not going to become an end user, you are not going to become an accountant. You are a consultant. As a consultant, you should know fundamentals of accounting and make sure when you talk, other person is able to understand. When other person is talking, you are able to understand in accounting language. When I say the other person is talking, you are able to understand. You're talking, other person is able to understand in accounting language with accounting finance terminology. If you are able to meet this requirement, if you are able to feel comfortable, confident at this level, it is more than sufficient for you to manage wherever you go. Clear? Right. So first, what I'll do is, let me try to certain points here. Let's say I'll put some examples. I'll put example number one. Let's say rent paid. If I say rent paid, by default, what accounting entry strikes our mind?
Bank
Rent
or
account, debit,
debit.
cash, or bank.
Rent to cash or bank.
Right? I may say rent debit let's say cash or bank account credit. Rent account debit, cash or bank account credit, but here we have given only a single statement, rent paid. I did not mention whether I paid rent by cash or I paid rent by bank. Did I mention that point here or not?
No.
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 No, sir.
It is not mentioned. In our academic, in our examination, it is okay, but those who are not talking, please go on mute. Or those who have speaker enabled, please use earphone also. Okay, so that we will not get echo. If there is an echo, it will be difficult for you to refer while watching the recording. So it will create unnecessary disturbance. Whoever is on speaker, please try to put earphone so that it will be okay, or be on mute. So that it will help everybody understand, follow properly. So in our academic, it is okay when I say rent paid, rent account debit, cash or bank account credit. But when you're working in the project, when you're talking about a project, when you're talking about any organization, any company, it is not okay. You cannot assume anything on your own in any organization. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
In the organization, you cannot assume anything on your own. You need to know every information crystal clear. If my statement is this, rent paid, your answer is not this. This is not your answer. You will be putting a cross question. How did you pay? Your answer is not rent account debit, cash or bank account credit. Your answer must be, how did you pay the rent? Why how did you pay the rent? Because when you write accounting entry, do we write accounting entry like this? Is this correct accounting entry, cash or bank?
No.
It has
No,
to be
sir.
either cash or it has to be bank. Cannot be cash
Bank.
slash bank or cash or bank. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So slowly what we need to see, we need to start looking at the scenario. We need to start looking at the requirement clearly. If the requirement is clear, your understanding will be clear, your work will be easier. If requirement is not clear, you are assuming it may be paid by cash. You are assuming it may be paid by bank. What if your assumption is wrong? What if your assumption is wrong? It is not a good sign, right? Am I correct? We are not a student
Yes.
that okay, whenever rent is paid, rent account debit, cash account credit or bank account credit. You're talking about an accounting entry which is recorded in an organization for which you need crystal clear information. Wherever you feel requirement is not clear, wherever you feel you need additional information, please make sure you will put back a question to your user or to your client or to whosoever you're talking with. Do not assume anything on your own, because this is not you who is going to record the entry. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
You're not going to record the accounting entry. You need to make sure, based on the business requirement, you are going to understand how system is going to accept the entry for which what is required. For example, if I say, how did you pay the rent? If I say, I paid by cash, then what will be the accounting entry?
Rent account.
Rent account
Rent
debit
account
to bank.
debit to cash account.
Rent account debit to cash account.
Cash account.
Then this will be the accounting entry. Rent account debit, cash account credit. Now, whatever the amount that I am paying for rent, for example, I paid rent of 5,000. Then how do I put amounts here?
5,000.
5,000
5,000,
here,
5,000.
5,000
Straight
here,
5,000.
right? Now, as per accounting, debit is equal to credit. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
As per accounting, debit is equal to credit. At the same time, as per accounting, debits plus credit is equal to 0. Is this also correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
As per accounting, debit amount, credit amount are equal. Okay. Debit amount is 5,000. Credit amount is also 5,000. This is okay. We are able to understand. Second point, as per accounting, debit amount plus credit amount must be 0. In short, if I do a total here is equal to debit amount plus credit amount. What is expected number? Total?
0.
0.
0.
0.
Are we getting 0?
No,
Why?
because credit side it's minus.
Because credit side it is supposed to be minus.
Minus.
If I put minus here, then it is becoming 0.
Yes.
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 Right? If I add minus, this will be 0. Those who are not talking, please go on mute. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now you can see debit amount and credit amount, is it becoming 0? Why
Yes.
it was not becoming 0 earlier? What was the mistake? Minus
No,
sign
not
was
the
not
bit.
there.
Credit
Right? Earlier,
credit side is
minus sign.
Both the
Correct.
side
Earlier,
positive.
we did not put minus signature, or earlier we did not put minus symbol. Meaning, you need to remember, whenever we write or look at numbers in accounting, number must be in accounting format. Number must be in which format?
Accounting.
Accounting format.
Accounting format. As per accounting, number is of two types. Here accounting, you can tell a number only in two representations. Point number 1, debit. Point number 2, what?
Credit.
Credit.
Credit. By looking at the number, if I need to understand that this number is a debit, this number is credit, how do I know?
By symbol.
What is the logic that we need to understand in order to understand accounting by looking at a number?
Positive number, negative number.
By sign.
Positive number, negative number. Basically, whenever you're talking about debit, it is plus. Whenever you're talking about credit, it is minus. Am I correct?
Yes.
Debit means positive plus number. Credit means negative minus number. For plus, we don't write plus. For minus, you need to write minus. For plus, do not need to write any plus in symbol there. But for minus, strictly you need to put minus sign. Am I clear? Even if you look at it here,
Yes.
I am not writing plus 5,000. Even if I put plus 5,000, system is removing plus. Am I correct? Even if I put plus, even if I put plus and then move forward, system is automatically removing a plus sign. Correct? So which means we need to understand, whenever we are looking at the accounting number, your number must be positive, negative sign. Everybody is going to look at number in Excel sheet. Am I correct? Any report that you work in your accounting, majoritarily we will be working with Excel sheet. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
When we know we are going to work on Excel sheet on the number, in Excel sheet by default you will have number format. In Excel sheet by default you will have number format. if I select this number, if I click on this comma, do you see this comma on this Excel sheet? Top, comma style, format with a 1000 separator. Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay, this is point number 1. Or if you go to the format, drop down, there is another point called accounting format here.
Correct.
Because
Yes,
even
sir.
Excel is also having something called accounting.
Yes.
Excel also has got a point stating accounting. And in SAP FICO, we are all aware, we are talking about accounting. FI itself is financial accounting. Am I correct?
Yes.
FI itself is financial accounting. If I select accounting here, so if I expand this, how the amount is representing? This
With
is representing with INR figure. For
yes.
example, I don't want this INR figure. I simply put number here. I will simply put number here. How this number is becoming now? 5000.00. After dot, whatever you get is called as what? Decimal.
Yeah, decimal. Right.
Alright, after dot, whatever you get is basically a decimal. For INR, how many decimals are applicable?
2.
For INR, 2 decimals are applicable. If you wanted to increase decimal, you can increase decrease from here. You can increase, you can decrease. If you are increasing, it is okay. If you are decreasing, it is called as rounding off.
Amount.
Right? If you are decreasing the decimal, basically we call it as round off or rounding off. This terminology I hope everybody heard, right?
Yes.
Rounded off or amount
Yes.
in hundreds, amount in thousands, amount in lakhs, amount in crores. Yes, no?
Yes.
Right? Meaning they are rounding off the number. Now this number has got a slight change. Now here if I convert this also into number, if I convert this into a number, it is still representing a minus,
Yes.
right? If I put this into this comma style, now I can easily understand with the help of 1000 separator,
Yes.
right? If I put this also comma style, I can easily see this is my 1000 separator. Tomorrow
Yes.
when you are working in any organization, you are looking at any financial report, not necessarily SAP. You look at a small company, everybody will write numbers in this way. Yes or no?
It's a basic. Yes.
Right? Even if you're writing any amount in words, even if you write amount in check whatsoever, strictly you're supposed to put this, because later on somebody cannot change it. If I put only 5000 and if I give it to you, I can add another zero here.
True.
Right? If I give this, if I add another zero, if I put 5 comma 4 zeros, nobody will accept that this is a genuine number, right?
Correct.
Right? Those who know, nobody will write, for example, 5 comma 4 zeros. Will anybody write like this? Is this a right number?
No.
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 You cannot manipulate the number, right? In accounting, manipulation is very easy to manipulate the number in accounting.
Yes.
As a FICO consultant, you are going to play with the numbers. As a FICO consultant, you are going to play with the number. You are going to look at reports, values and all day in, day out. Every day you are going to look at a different kind of report, different values, different issues and all. First of all, make sure you are good at looking at the number. First of all, make sure you are good at looking at the number. When you look at any Excel sheet, when you look at any report, please try to identify debit, credit from a number. So when you're writing a number, don't write same number for everything. Plus, minus, irrespective of it, I'll put the same number, no comma, no dot, nothing. Nobody understand what it is except you. That should never be the case. That should never be the situation. Because if you're talking about your accounting here, if you're talking about your accounting here, why we're talking about accounting here? Because of which application? Because of which software system we are talking about accounting now?
Excel.
SAP,
SAP. SAP. Yes, sir.
right? You're all talking about accounting plus minus symbol now because of SAP FICO. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, SAP can be used by a small company, or SAP is used by large companies only.
Large companies.
Large.
Large companies.
SAP is basically used by top large companies only. Small companies cannot afford SAP because it is very expensive. It is very expensive. Small
Expensive.
companies
True.
cannot afford SAP. So when you know small companies cannot afford SAP, you are by default not going to look at small number.
Yes.
Right? Don't play
Yes.
with numbers 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, 2000 rupees, 5000 rupees. If somebody is telling my value is coming as 1 million, what do you mean by 1 million? Do you need to understand or not?
10 lakhs. Yeah.
Right? When
Yes.
somebody is telling my report is supposed to be 1 million, whereas it is showing 1.3 million,
Yes.
0.5 million it is representing. You cannot ask as a FICO consultant, can you tell me what do you mean by 0.5 million? Can I ask?
No.
If you're talking to your client, if your client is telling we are expecting a number of 12.4 million, don't get confused, or when you're telling the number, do not get confused, do not tell a wrong number. This is quite common for most of the people because of different reasons. Maybe we are not understanding this point, or maybe we did not come across a certain situation, certain scenario where we need to act in that situation. But as a FICO consultant, definitely you need to know all these basic fundamentals slowly right from the beginning, so that as you move forward, you are well versed, you are familiar with different points. So in short, if I'm writing debit credit accounting entry, point number one, I need to ensure my amounts are listed like this in the accounting format. Point number two, all the credit values I am going to identify with minus symbol. Wherever there is no minus symbol, I am not going to assume it as a credit unless I see a minus sign here. Am I correct? I am not going to assume, I am not going to think that this is a credit balance unless I see a negative number. Is my statement correct or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Unless I see a negative number, I don't think that it is a credit. I will tell it is your fault. If it is credit, you are supposed to put minus. Then I will tell that you do not even know that credit in accounting is identified by minus symbol. Is it so bad situation for us to listen from somebody, or for us to accept that I'm not able to identify debit credit with plus minus? Yes or no? You're playing with accounting, you're writing different numbers, you're posting entries, whatever you're doing, but all our numbers are like this. How do you understand? We will not be able to understand. And in accounting, you need to ensure that your values are represented with debit credit terminology. Wherever it is a positive number, it is a debit. Wherever it is a negative number, it is a credit. Blind logic, keep in your mind. No changes, no matter what. Debit means positive number, credit means negative number. Am I correct?
Yes,
Correct.
correct.
Yes.
Debit means positive number, credit means negative number. Blind logic, keep in your mind always. Not that only in this situation, in every situation across accounting, debit means positive, credit means negative. In the reporting, normally we don't represent minus symbol. Instead of a minus symbol, how do we represent? Brackets. Am I correct?
Brackets. Yes.
Yes.
Right? We don't put minus practically. You want system to represent minus in bracket, or you want system to represent minus in red color. So what do you do for that? Go to accounting. Where I need to go from here to make it brackets? more number format. Okay, if I go to this
Symbol, yes.
symbol, what I need to take? I want this to appear in bracket. What do I need to do? Now, the
Minus.
reason why I am opening Excel sheet is just to let you know, as a FICO consultant, you have to be very comfortable, very flexible with Excel sheet. If you are not comfortable on Excel sheet, it is very, very difficult for you to manage as a FICO consultant in any project. No matter what, if you are not comfortable on Excel sheet, as a FICO consultant, your activity, your work will be very complicated. All right, so slowly you need to make sure different points you're understanding, different points you're adding onto your knowledge. How do I bring this number into minus? Accounting, or do I need to go to custom?
Custom.
Okay, if I go to custom, I don't find anywhere that minus. No, I don't find minus anywhere.
Scientific.
No.
It is accounting only.
Or it's a number or currency.
In accounting, there is none option.
It's a kind of special characters, I guess.
Yeah, here
Hold on.
is you have
Scroll down.
Sorry,
That's a
could you come again?
symbol.
What you're looking for?
Symbol, all
I
currencies.
want the minus number to appear in brackets.
It's a kind of special characters, I guess. Like it is in special.
it is Latin.
No,
No,
in the number only we can.
no.
Not Latin. But my requirement is clear, right?
We need to select from general below the general number only. Like, yeah.
Okay. If I take this, if I take this, if I take this, take this.
It might be special characters.
Like this.
Please go to number again.
Number. Okay.
Use thousands. Okay. Down.
Okay. If I choose this is becoming red, nothing else.
Okay.
Sir, I think format should be accounting and symbol should be none.
Accounting.
Right click on that field and format. Yes, right. This is
This is
in my
none
Excel. It
only.
is showing my system. It is showing bracket.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's working.
But
Mine was
yeah,
working.
but you understood the requirement, right?
Yes.
Everybody is clear with
Yes.
the requirement.
Okay.
Tomorrow,
If it is
when
okay,
you're
it is
giving the data or when you're submitting the reports to any of your user, assuming you're a FICO consultant, somebody asked you to generate a report or give your data. You're downloading the data or you're submitting data for different reasons. Whatever the data that you're submitting or whatever the presentation that you're giving, whatever the sample demonstration that you're giving, it should be properly representing the accounting or not. Right, it should properly represent accounting. It is not like that you are just like that showing randomly, you are putting the data. It should never give that kind of representation. It has to be strictly in a professional accounting manner, because you are a FICO consultant. Keep in your mind, you are going to talk to the people who are working on accounting side clearly. Is my statement correct? When you talk about client, when you talk about user, your client, your user are related to accounting. When you talk to them, make sure you talk in the accounting language. When they talk to you, they will ensure they talk to you in the accounting language. 2 points here. When I say 2 points here, when you talk, it is okay if your client, if your user is not understanding, because you may be using SAP terminology, you may be talking in SAP language. Agree? If I'm talking, if I'm using SAP terminology, if I'm using SAP language, you may not be able to understand as a user. Am I correct?
Yes,
But
sir.
as a user, if I'm talking in the accounting, actually I'm looking at my account balance. There should be a credit, there should be excess value here, there should be a deficit here, or we posted a debit here. It is supposed to hit my P&L, but by mistakenly, there is a huge impact in my balance sheet. I wanted to pass an adjustment. I need to do a reclassification. I need to do a rectification, something like this. If some user is talking, can I say as a FICO consultant, can you please repeat? I don't get what you're talking. Can I say this?
No.
No.
I'm not supposed to say this, right? I am supposed to understand basic accounting, basic query, or basic information, whatever user is talking, whatever your client is explaining. If this is not happening, as a FICO consultant, something is wrong. As a FICO consultant, something is wrong. Your client, your user may say that this consultant, this candidate is not understanding what I'm talking. Remember, on every FICO consultant, whenever you join in any project, there is something called feedback. Yes or no?
Yes.
Wherever you join, there is something called feedback. Now, on a FICO consultant, feedback is collected from the user. From whom feedback is collected majoritarily?
Consultant.
User. User means end user. The way you are interacting with the user, with your client, how you are understanding their queries, how you are able to solve their problem, how you are able to explain, convince them, gives a feedback on your performance to your project manager. If your client is okay, if your users are telling, okay, this consultant is okay, he is able to understand, he is able to clarify the queries, he is able to solve the problem, it is okay. If everybody is telling no, he is not even understanding what we are talking, he is explaining but we don't understand what he is telling, he is not able to explain us, or he is not able to convince us, is it a positive feedback or a negative feedback?
Negative feedback.
It is a negative feedback which you should not get. So do not always think they will judge based on your configuration. Are we supposed to talk configuration to any user, any client?
Most of
Configuration is your secret. Configuration is your secret. So you're not going to tell what config is required, how long this is going to take. It's a consulting secret. You will not reveal it with your client. You will not disclose it with your user. But as a consultant, you need to ensure when you're getting the requirement, you are able to understand what it is. When I say you're able to get, you're able to understand what it is. When the requirement comes, for that, basic accounting knowledge is mandatory. According to that, we need to understand a 2 point. As per accounting, debit must be equivalent to credit. And according to accounting, if you do a total of debit and credit, total must be zero. If you sum debit and credit, total must be zero. These 2 points you need to keep in your mind. If I do a total for this again, if I do a total for this again, now is this becoming zero? Right?
Yes.
If I do a total, this is becoming zero, which we need to ensure for every accounting document, which we need to ensure for every accounting record that you are looking at, without which you cannot move forward. Why we need to look at it? First point, whenever you are talking, first point, whenever you are working as a consultant, there is something called projects. In SAP FICO, it is all about projects. Am I correct?
Yes.
In SAP FICO, it is all about project. Now, when you're talking about project, what kind of a projects do we normally talk? Or whenever you get any interview call, everybody will specifically ask for a specific project experience. What is that project called?
Implementation. Implementation first.
Right? Everybody will look for implementation experience. If you tell you do not have experience on implementation, no surprise, your interview is not scheduled. Is my statement correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
When you tell I do not have any experience on implementation project, or you say I am not part of any implementation project, your interview may not be scheduled. It is very simple. Why everybody is behind implementation project? Why everybody is behind implementation experience is just to ensure in the implementation you will understand complete SAP FICO cycle. As a consultant, what we do, you will be able to understand only when you know how implementation project happens in any organization. As a FICO consultant, what we will do, you do not need to know everything about SAP implementation project. You just need to know as a FICO consultant what you will do in the implementation project. Am I correct?
Yes.
As a FICO consultant, first we need to understand what we will do as a FICO consultant. This is your first point. Second point, once you are clear with your role, your responsibility, your contribution, your activity as a FICO consultant, then only you will try to see what is happening in any implementation project in a generic way. Whenever you are talking about implementation experience, first point we need to understand SAP FICO consultant activity here. Second point, your contribution here. First point, what will happen or what SAP FICO consultant will do in any implementation project. Second point, if you were in the implementation project, considering your level of experience now, if you say, I am 1 year experience, I am 3 year experience, I am 4 year experience, I am 5 year experience, I am 6 year experience, what would be your contribution? What would be your role and responsibility? We need to understand. Only after this, you talk about general information about implementation. But usually what we all will do, straight away we will go to point number 3. We will ignore our activity. Straight away we all try to understand what is implementation project, what will happen in implementation project. You are not a project manager, you are not a project coordinator to know what is happening in general in the implementation project. You are a FICO consultant. Please try to understand what FICO consultant does in any implementation project. If you are in the implementation project, what you would be doing as a FICO consultant. This is your primary point to understand. Straight away, don't go here. Don't try to guess anything. Don't get unnecessary confusion. The moment you step into this, you will land at a place where you are not understanding anything, where it is not possible for you to understand at this stage. For example, for every implementation, there is something called methodology. There are basically two types of methodology which we follow in the implementation project of SAP. What are those two?
SAP.
SAP methodology, activate methodology.
One is
Activated.
SAP, two is activate methodology.
Activate.
Now there are two types of SAP FICO. What are those two types of SAP FICO? Two versions of SAP FICO.
ECC and
ECC and
Passport.
right. Which methodology is used where?
ECC is for SAP is for SAP methodology.
For all
ECC.
your ECC projects, ASAP methodology, activate for all
That's for HANA projects.
S4 HANA projects. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All your ECC projects are implemented with the help of ASAP project. ASAP means what?
Accelerated.
Easy access.
Accelerated as
ASAP means accelerated SAP.
Accelerated. Yes. Yeah.
Right? This accelerated SAP is used for implementing SAP ECC project. Activate methodology is used for implementing SAP S4 HANA project. Now in the current market, which implementations are going on? Is it ECC implementation or S4 HANA implementation?
Yes, for HANA.
Yes, for HANA.
S4 HANA implementation. So you must know about which methodology by default?
activate.
HANA.
Yes, for
S for
HANA.
HANA.
Yeah.
S4 HANA activate methodology is what you must know. According to ASAP methodology, how many stages will be there? How many steps are there?
5 stages.
5 steps. According to activate, how many are there?
5.
6.
6.
Okay. According to ASAP, there are 5. According to activate, there are 6. What are these?
Project preparation,
Project preparation.
business blueprint,
Project preparation, business blueprint,
Realization.
realization,
okay,
and
final
Final preparation.
preparation,
support.
go live
Support.
and support. These are the 5 steps here. In activate, we are talking about 6. What are those 6?
Prepare phase,
Can you elaborate this?
deployment phase, deeper,
Discover, P
Prepare,
for
prepare,
prepare, E for
enable,
Explore.
explore,
explore, R for
Research.
realization,
realize, D for
deployment,
deploy, R for run. Okay, these are the points which we need to know from the ASAP point of view, from the activate point of view. Is this going to take much time to know, to understand, to remember, or this is a simple task only? Are you a project manager to know each and everything what is going to happen in each stage? No, right? You are a FICO consultant. You should know from which phase or from which stage you are part of the project. Or you should know what implementation methodology will be used. What are all these points? Because tomorrow you might be questioned on this point. Tomorrow people will ask you from which phase you were part of the project. So first of all, you should know which methodology is used for which project. Am I correct? I cannot say I am part of S4 HANA implementation project. We implemented S4 HANA project, or we implemented our project with the help of ASAP methodology. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Wrong.
Because S4 HANA project is implemented with activate methodology. So you should have a clarity. Okay, these points, whenever somebody is talking, they are talking about incorrect information. Whenever these points they are talking, only then they are talking about right information related to S/4HANA project. Meaning, don't look at implementation project as a implementation project in the current market, because currently wherever you find implementation project, it is strictly S/4HANA implementation. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Currently, whatever the implementation that you get is purely S/4HANA implementation. In S/4HANA, you have 2 points. In S/4HANA, implementation projects, people might ask these points. We need to ensure we are familiar with the terminology, so that when somebody is talking about something, or when you hear something, you feel comfortable. You must be hearing something about Rise with SAP. Anybody heard this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? When you know that
No.
you are learning SAP FICO, please make sure these terminologies, at least we are familiar now. What it is and all, we will be understanding as we move forward. But initially, we need to ensure, okay, I'm able to relate what is this. At least I know that I heard this somewhere. It should not be the case as we move forward. I do not know, but I'm learning SAP FICO. I'm practicing. I'm trying to get a job in SAP, but I never heard what is Rise with SAP. I do not know what is Rise with SAP. It's not going to be a favorable point for you in the market. Along with Rise with SAP, there is a similar terminology. What is it called? Anybody heard Grow with SAP? Anybody heard these terminologies? Rise with SAP, Grow with SAP, or
No.
on-premise, private cloud, public cloud. Anybody heard this?
Yeah, these items are there.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Sir, I
For
got
ex
an interview question for this one.
yeah. So 1, 2, I'll put this again. This is another set. Again, if I put some other points, wherever I'm writing a number, assume it is a different point, not related to each other. If I put again, greenfield implementation. Next, what other colors are there?
Brown.
Brownfield.
Brownfield, I think.
Brownfield.
Implementation. Any other color?
Blue. I think blue is also there.
Right? Blue field
And sir,
implementation.
I have heard of one more that is vanilla implementation. I don't know what is that.
That is basically greenfield only. Standard.
Okay.
Okay. So these three basically we need to understand, or this set is what we need to basically understand. Or one more point, ECC2, S/4HANA, migration, or S/4HANA version upgrade. Something like this. These points slowly we need to ensure we are familiar. Does not mean you need to know what it is at this stage. As we move forward, slowly you will be understanding all these points conceptually. But at this stage, at this moment, you need to ensure you are familiar with these points. When I say you are familiar with these points, tomorrow when you talk to your friend or anybody, try to ask them what is Rise with SAP. Tomorrow when you talk to your friend, try to ask your friend, what is RISE with SAP? I'm not able to understand. Can you explain me? If your friend is telling, I also do not know, you feel comfortable. Okay, my friend also does not know who is working in SAP. I am also do not know. It's okay, right? So you feel that, okay, whatever I am knowing, whatever people who are working in SAP is okay. This is an advantage for everybody, whoever is learning SAP now, because S4 HANA, different points, whatever are coming in the market are new for everybody. Those who are working already in SAP FICO, those who are learning SAP FICO, these points are new to everybody, for this and for them. So this is an advantage or not? When you go to the market, probably you may be sounding a little more confident than the actually experienced candidate. Possibility is there or not? If you put your efforts properly,
Yes.
right? If you put your efforts properly, if you understand the things in a conceptual proper manner, you will actually sound like a professional than a person who is already working in SAP FICO, because of their work, because of different reasons, they may not be having much exposure to these points, or they may not have studied these points. They may be preparing only on the activity that they've done in their project. So you always have an added advantage. If you take this added advantage in a positive way, you put a little additional effort, you will not find any difficulty no matter what. But the thing is, you need to realize all the points well in advance. You need to realize all these points well in advance, because time, whatever is there with you, is less or more. Everybody
Yes.
has got limited less time only. Within this time, you need to understand what I need to know, what I need to learn, what I need to remember, so that I will stand confident in the market. Otherwise, you will stand in the market, but as an outdated, as a candidate who will not be picked up. That should not be the situation. When you're in the market looking for a job, whosoever is taking your interview, let them feel confident about you, that yes, this candidate can fit in my position. This candidate is right candidate for my project. Only your knowledge reveals it. Only your knowledge works there, nothing else. So in short, when somebody is asking about project implementation, these are all the points which should strike your mind. Without knowing all this kind of a thing, straight away do not start any configuration. When I say straight away do not start any configuration, before you do the configuration, these points at least we are familiar with. Okay, there is something called Rise with SAP, there is something called Grow with SAP. When you know these terminologies, in your mind there are certain question marks are getting raised. You will definitely try to see what is Rise with SAP, what is Grow with SAP, what is on premise, what is public cloud, what is private cloud. Yes or no? You will try to know what it is. Agree?
Yes.
Or you'll try to ask somebody what is this, if not me,
Yes, sir.
right? All right. Next point, what we need to know here is, we are talking about, or we came to all these points because of one information, because of a single terminology called implementation experience. Am I correct? Just because we raised a point called implementation, we ended up writing all the points. True?
Yes.
Now, if I say this, what is this? What did I write?
Before preparing balance sheet, we'll prepare trial
Trial
balance.
balance.
This is a trial balance. This is related to accounting.
Yes, sir.
This trial balance is related to accounting. Now we are talking about SAP. We are talking about FICO. We are talking about implementation project. Let me add another point here. called as rollout project. Anybody heard rollout project?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Are all these interconnected or not?
Yes.
Are these all interconnected or not? Yes or no?
It's connected.
Every point is interconnected here. No project will complete without a trial balance. Let it be implementation or let it be rollout project. Your project cannot be completed without a trial balance. Everybody must have heard a terminology called legacy data upload, opening balance upload, data migration. Anybody heard these points?
Yes.
Cutover activity. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
These are all interconnected or not?
Yes.
Right? Everything is interconnected. So when you're talking about SAP implementation project or when you're talking about SAP rollout project, these projects are incomplete. These projects cannot be completed without a trial balance. If I say this, is my statement correct? If I say no implementation project will be completed without a trial balance, no rollout project will be completed without a trial balance. In short, without a trial balance, we cannot go live with our project. Am I correct or not?
Correct.
Correct? Those who do not know, try to check with your friends who are working in SAP that is this a statement right or wrong? Without a trial balance, I heard no SAP project will go live. Is this correct or not? Just verify. You will get 100 out of 100. It is correct. Am I right? If anybody tells no, without a trial balance also we can go live, they are not correct. So without a trial balance, it is not possible for you to go live in SAP. Point number one. Why? For example, any one company name, let's say Ajay IT Solutions, just an example, private limited, established in year 2015. What is this meaning? What is it representing?
Ajay IT Solutions registered in 2015.
2015. So this company is in the market doing business from 2015 onwards. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
This is what it is representing. Yes or no? This point is clear or not? Whatever I listed on the Excel sheet. Clear, right? Now, next point, what we will write is till, let's say, from 2015 to 2017, they were using Tally ERP. Possible?
Yes.
Let's say from 2017 to 2024, they were using Oracle. Is this also possible? Let's
Yes.
say from 2024 onwards, they are using SAP. Quite possible or not? This is how everywhere happens.
Yes.
In short, any company who starts their business, they do not straight away get into SAP majoritarily. Is my statement correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Since it is very
Any
expensive.
company who starts their business, nobody will straight away come to SAP. Reason, it is costly, it is expensive. They do not find that much, the business turnover to maintain the cost of SAP. So what they do, they use smaller or normal IT ERP application to manage their accounting, financial and all. Later on, as they grow with their business, as they increase their sales and all the business activities, they will try to get on to the better version of ERP application, probably SAP. Is this what happens in any organization? Is my understanding correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Right?
Yes.
This is what usually happens. In short, no company is majority, let's say 90%, except assume that we will leave 10% as an exceptional cases. We will go ahead with the 90% of the cases. In 90% of the cases, no company is coming directly into SAP, right? They are coming from existing application to SAP. Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
True.
sir. Yes, sir.
Majoritarily, every company is coming from existing application to SAP. So in the existing application, they have the current business data or not? Business transaction, everything.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? There should be business continuity. For that business continuity to happen, data whatever you had in the legacy system or in the old system, in the previous system, should be transferred to SAP system or not?
Yes.
This is what we call
Yes,
it as
sir.
data migration. So when you're talking about data migration, legacy data upload, cutover activity, you will be receiving data from your client, from your company in the form of what? Trial balance. How do you receive the legacy data?
Through trial balance.
Through trial balance. So there is something called a trial balance or TB or TB upload. Not necessarily everybody will ask you, everybody will tell in a crystal clear manner which you will understand. Whatever the terminology that they are using, depending on the situation, as a FICO consultant, you need to understand it. That is your understanding, that is your knowledge. Do not expect that I don't know that TB is representing a trial balance. I did not expect they will use the shortcuts. You have to expect it. Right? You have to be prepared for everything. Do not expect when you're talking to different people anywhere, your client, your user, your friend, your interviewer, whosoever may not be always using the same terminology. They may be using different terminology, but the same context, same concept. It depends on your knowledge. It depends on your understanding, how you're relating it to the scenario and to the situation. Right? If you're receiving the trial balance, if I say that I do not know what is trial balance, is it okay or not okay?
Not okay.
Not okay.
If I say I do not know trial balance, I do not know how to see trial balance, how to make a trial balance, how to understand a trial balance, definitely it is not okay. Agree? Straight away it is not okay. Point number one. Having said I do not know trial balance, I cannot say I worked on implementation project, I cannot say I worked on a rollout project because implementation is incomplete without a trial balance. Rollout is incomplete without a trial balance. You're telling you do not know trial balance. You're telling you're part of the project. Is this relatable?
No, sir.
No, right?
No.
Anybody can easily figure out that you did not work anywhere in SAP just with a single
Yes.
terminology called a trial balance. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Do not give any such chances to anybody. Nobody will identify, nobody will know with your configuration knowledge because everybody is good at configuration. Everybody is good at the configuration because according to everybody, SAP FICO is all about configuration. So whether I tell, I don't tell, I know everybody will prepare configuration. I know everybody will practice configuration. I know everybody will by heart T codes, path and all. Everybody is aware of it. Because that is not the intention why you are paying money. You are paying money to know different points. You are paying money to know, to understand the different scenarios in the project. As a consultant, whatever you are supposed to know, the way you have to think, the way you need to talk, that is what you are paying money, not to know the config. Because config, everybody by default does it, everybody by default knows it, everybody by default moves forward because without configuration you cannot practice. When you're practicing, you're stuck somewhere, you're understanding your business process, your scenario will take you to the destination in which configuration is by default understood, configuration is by default covered. Do not specifically sit on understand configuration. So I need to make sure what is a trial balance. When I am understanding a trial balance, can I say trial balance contains complete account balances? Is this correct?
Yes.
No.
Yes, sir.
Trial balance
Yes.
contains complete account balances. When you're talking about account balances, we are talking about two types of account balances.
Debit and credit balance.
Two types of balances. Point number one, again, for everything there will be multiple, the definitions, multiple meanings, depending on the situation, depending on the scenario. As a FICO consultant, we need to understand. Point number one, you can say debit balance. Point number two,
Credit balance.
debit balance. I can say credit balance. Can I also say opening balance, closing balance?
Yes.
Yes, Vaya.
Yes.
Yes.
Both are correct,
Yeah.
right? Both are correct. Now, depending on the situation, depending on the scenario, we need to ensure which one we need to use, what the other person is representing. Okay. In the trial balance, do you get a debit balance or you get credit balance or you get both balances?
Both
Both balance.
balances.
Both.
Both
Both
balance.
the
In the trial
balance.
balance, you will be having a debit balance. In the trial balance, you will also be having credit balance. In the trial balance, do you get opening balance? Do you get closing balance or you get both balances?
Both balances.
Both balance.
No. No. What do you get? Only
Closing balance.
closing
Only
balance.
closing
Opening
balance.
balance.
Yes.
Only closing
Trial
balance.
balance will contain only the closing balance. But when you're talking about here, we were talking about not closing balance upload. We're talking about which balance upload?
Opening balance.
Opening balance.
Opening
Opening
balance
balance
upload.
sub.
Opening balance means closing balance. Without closing balance, there is nothing called opening balance. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, right.
Yes, sir.
Right? Without closing balance, there is nothing called opening balance. So when I'm talking about opening balance, I need to receive the closing balance. Am I correct?
Hmm.
Yes, you are correct.
For me to receive the closing balance, I need to get the closing balance in TB format, in trial balance format. My trial balance will also tell whether my accounting is correct or not, because TB becomes 0 always.
Yes.
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 Right? Total debit of trial
Yes, sir.
balance, total credit of trial balance is always 0. So my TB becoming 0. 0 means
Balance.
TB
Both
must
the values are
be
required.
always 0.00, not 0. Because even if your TB contains 0.01, there is a problem.
Yes.
If my TB is giving a residual value of 0.01, my accounting is correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
Straight away
Counting
incorrect.
is
No
correct.
matter what is the difference, whether it is 0.01 difference or it is 100 difference, 1000 difference, 1 lakh difference, difference is a difference. When I'm talking about a trial balance, we are strictly representing 0.00.
Yes, sir.
Now in trial balance, you will have different accounts. TB contains majoritarily 4 types of, or 2 types of accounts. One is P&L account. What is the other one?
Balance sheet.
Balance
Balance
sheet.
sheet accounts.
Balance sheet account.
Balance sheet account. If I talk about P&L account, P&L accounts can I again classify into 2?
Expenses
Yes.
and incomes.
Expenses, revenue.
Incomes and expenses. Right? If I classify balance sheet, again I can classify into 2.
Assets liability.
Assets and liabilities.
Asset and
Asset and liability.
liabilities. Yeah.
And liabilities. So in short, when you're looking at a trial balance, you need to identify, first point, 2-level segregation. By looking at the trial balance, first point you need to identify 2-level segregation, P&L account, balance sheet account. This is mandatory. Once you are able to identify P&L balance sheet, second level of segregation is, in P&L, is it income or is it expense? Or in balance sheet, is it asset,
It's,
is it liability? Is this required or not for any basic fundamental accounting candidate?
it's required.
Required.
Yes, it is.
Right? Can I say that I know accounting? Can I say I'm a FICO consultant if I'm not able to identify asset, liability, income, expense, P&L, balance sheet account?
No.
No, sir.
No, right? Definitely you cannot say yes. Unless you do not know what are all this, unless you are able to identify what these things are, you cannot say confidently, yes, I'm a FICO consultant. I can talk to the user, I can talk to the client, I can explain the process to the client and all. You cannot do it because you are not in a position to identify these points. Now, when you're looking at all these points, you're able to recollect so many points in your mind, because majority of the points, whatever I'm talking now, everybody has come across somewhere or the other so far in your experience in your academic. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
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 Most of the points everybody is already aware of. There may be very few who are completely new to accounting, who are completely non-finance, non-accounting background. If I take them as an exception, those who are from the commerce accounting background, those who are working in accounting finance domain, must be aware of these fundamental points. If not completely, if not half, at least 10% you are aware of it. Not that you are hearing for the first time, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You
Yes.
are right.
Right? So these points we need to slowly improve. When you're improving these points, when you're looking at the different kind of a business scenarios, it will make you feel comfortable, confident. Yes, I am able to understand what is what. Now let me see how can I do it in SAP. Instead of blindly posting the entry, instead of blindly following what I'm doing, I want you to take your own example. I want you to start exploring the things. I want you to start understanding the things on your own also, because whatever we are talking, whatever we're discussing will give you different high level understanding of a various point. which will allow you to explore on your own. By looking at so many points now, there are many things that you realize that let me understand what is all this. Let me recollect one more time. Yes or no? Many points you would have felt, I do not know what it is, let
Yes.
me find it. Or many points you are already aware, you would have felt, I know this, but I'm not able to recollect what it is. Let me sit and recollect it. For most of you, this might be striking your mind.
Yes. Exactly.
Right? So do not expect I am going to elaborate everything. My point is only to create points in your mind that yes, I need to sit and then explore this point. Because I'm just creating ideas in your mind. I'm just making you realize that there are so many things which we need to understand. If I start explaining everything, we have to do a degree in SAP FICO. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right? All I can give you is giving you different highlights, giving you different insights. These are all the points which we need to understand. Whatever is not required, I do not talk. If there is something which is not required, I do not talk. There are many things that you're already aware of. Those points also I will skip. I know from your level, I know from your point, what things you're already aware, what things you're not aware, I clearly know. So whatever you know, I do not talk about those points. Whatever you do not know, but you must know, those points I'll specify. I'll repeat them repeatedly until you're thorough with it. Meaning, whatever we are talking, you have to strictly follow what we're discussing. Make sure you are at least aware of it. Because tomorrow, when you're in the market, when you're talking to anybody on SAP FICO, you will frequently come across this terminology. You will frequently come across with these areas. If you're familiar, if you're comfortable, at least you can say some points about it. If not completely, if not half, at least you can give an attempt, right? Try to tell at least a few points about it. Agree?
Yes.
Instead of being completely blank,
Yeah,
hearing for
agree.
the first time in the interview or with anybody, you sound a little comfortable, you sound a little confident. That is more than enough. That is more than enough. Those points you need to put an effort. And basic point, these things I am not going to talk. For example, we are all learning what? What are we learning? Which module?
SAP.
FICO.
SAP.
FICO module.
FICO of SAP. I am not going to tell you full form of SAP. I will never tell you full form of SAP. If you ask me, I will tell I do not know full form of SAP. I will tell you Google it. This is not required. I am not going to tell you what is ERP. If you ask me, give me an example of why company needs ERP. These kind of things I am not going to tell because nobody in your lifetime will ask you these questions. Am I correct?
You are right.
Nobody will ask you these questions. I am not going to answer this. So there are certain questions like this. Please ask Google, get the information. Do not ask me. All right. These points, there is nothing wrong in understanding, but understand on your own because these are all self-explanatory point from the Google. So do not expect straight away we are talking about a different point. We are straight away going to the point, whatever you need to know. So there is nothing that I will take you in a different direction. Straight away I'll put you on the track and then I'll drive you. I'll be with you. I'll make sure you'll understand. I'm not going to talk completely about everything. Okay, I'll just give you ideas. I'll just give you hints at the beginning so that different points start striking your mind. Now we understood the different points. About nothing we discussed completely, right? Did we discuss completely about anything so far? No, I did not explain anything completely, right? Everything bits and pieces.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
About everything, whatever I discussed now, about everything we were discussing bits and pieces only. Nothing we completed, nothing we discussed completely, or nothing I explained completely. But you're able to relate everything. At least some
Yes.
points are getting in your mind.
Yes.
Right? These points is what we need to ensure we are able to understand. Meaning, you're ensuring that I am getting to know different things. You're ensuring that, okay, I know these are all the points. Now you will get to know, okay, I saw this point, but I do not know what it is. Let me try when you're in free time. Instead of looking at XYZ things, look at these points. When you're talking to somebody, your friend or whosoever, or in the group. You have a WhatsApp group now? Almost, I think everybody is in the group.
Yes.
All right. So put a message in the group. Can anybody tell me what is closing balance? Somebody who knows it, they will type a message. Read it. Or put a message in the group. Can anybody tell me what is activate methodology? Put a message in the group. Anybody is aware what is RISE with SAP? Put a message. Anybody is aware what is on-premise SAP? What is private cloud SAP? What is public cloud SAP? I'm sure one of you must be aware of it. Yes or no? Or one of you might put an effort to understand what is what. Whatever you're understanding, put it in the group. And you will see other person is also responding. No, they will try to add additional point. That is how you have to learn, gain your knowledge. It has to be knowledge sharing between you also. I'll give different points which you need to explore. I'll tell different things which you need to identify. These things when you're collectively discussing, in the discussions or in the sessions when I'm explaining these points, it will be more easier for you to connect practically. When you put messages in the group, when I get free time, when I go through the messages, wherever I find incorrect content, I'll rectify it. I'll put a reply that this is not correct. Getting my point?
Yes.
Right? Because it will be a little tough for you to catch me once the sessions are over. Let me tell you a few points here. Because my free times, I'll tell you, is only 6:45 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. IST is where is my free time. Before this, I'll be in the office. Before office, I'll be taking class morning. And once I come back from my office, from this time to this time is only 45 minutes. I will have free time. This 45 minutes, I may be on, I'll be in a call. Okay, until I join this session, until I share my screen, I will be talking on a call with somebody or the other related to SAP only. Most of you, whenever you try to reach out to me, for everybody, I would have given the same time to call me. Right? Whosoever wanted to call me, I would have given the same time slot, right? Call around 7 o'clock IST, 7 p.m.
Yes.
Right? And you know, by the time we complete the class, what is the time in India? Everybody is aware it will be 10:30. Now it's 10:30. Our class is still running. After this, I'll be busy cooking and then eating. Right? Again, I'll get up around 5:30 in the morning. I'll be busy. So practically, it is difficult for me to respond to your messages on time. Please bear with my messages. Please bear with my delayed responses. Whatever the queries, confusions, doubts, whatever you have,
Your
I will
voice
address
is cracking,
everything.
sir.
Is it breaking for all?
No.
No, it's
No,
not.
sir.
No,
No,
sir.
no.
Clear.
All right.
It's clear to
No.
us.
Maybe a network issue. Okay.
No,
Whatever
it's
the doubts,
clear.
confusions,
Okay, sir.
questions you have, please make sure you will ask me in the sessions and I'll address all your doubts, questions, issues, whatever you have in the session itself. As we move forward, since it is the last session, I don't mind extending 1 more hour to clarify all your doubts, questions, confusions. Or on weekend, we will connect exclusively to discuss your questions, confusions, whatever you have. Clear, right?
Yeah, clear.
So have a clarity
Yes,
that
sir.
it's difficult. Do not expect that you will get immediate response from me, considering My schedule, I hope everybody understood my schedule now. So difficult for me to look at messages because I receive so many messages on a daily basis. I will receive so many calls, but I don't attend the calls other than that a time slot, whatever I have given, or on weekends, I will attend the calls or I'll give a call back. So any doubt, questions, confusions, whatever you're getting, try to send a voice message to me or try to put your message completely. So instead of, you put a message, you wait until I respond. By the time I respond, there may be a delay. Majoritarily, I'll be responding a delay. I have so many messages which I have not responded so far. Okay, but I'll make sure I'll respond to the messages whenever possible. But it is better for me to understand your query or your problem, whatever you're facing. If you send a voice message, it is easy for me to listen and then understand what it is instead of reading and understanding, because sometimes I may not be in a position to read messages properly. I may open the message, but I may only look at the message, go back. All right, try to understand the things, and accordingly we need to ensure we help each other. That's the reason I said in the group keep interacting, right? Discuss different points, whatever we've discussed now, different points, whatever you know, you would start sharing your knowledge on the group. Whatever you're sharing, please ensure it is your own understanding, not that you found something in the Google, Control C, Control V, stop doing it. Am I clear? Whatever
Okay.
you're sharing
Yes.
in the group, it is your understanding, not Google copy paste, not Google documents. Anybody can get the Google document, we do not need to share it. Clear?
Yes.
No sharing of Google documents, no sharing of the Google content copy paste. If you're typing something, you type from your own understanding. Only then you will get to know if you're right or wrong. If you are incorrect, the other person can easily rectify you. No, this is not correct. This is how it is supposed to be. Let it be in that way. Nothing wrong in saying I do not know. Even I also tell if I do not know. If you put a question, I openly tell I do not know this. I do not tell I forgot. I do not tell any reasons. I openly tell I do not know. Nothing wrong in it. If you put a question which I do not know, I accept I do not know. Next day I will tell you what it is. The similar way, whatever you do not know, nothing wrong in saying that I do not know. Even if you do not know what is trial balance, it is okay. Only when I know you do not know, it's easy for me to tell. Otherwise, I assume that everybody is aware, I can skip points. Right? If you do not know, do not hesitate to ask me. Ask me that I do not know what is trial balance. I will tell you what is trial balance. Tell me I'm not understanding what is debit, what is credit. I will make you understand what is debit, what is credit. If you are not understanding these points, you cannot do anything in FICO. You will not understand anything in FICO if you are not understanding these fundamental points. And once we are clear with these fundamental points, it's easy for us to understand what we're doing practically in SAP. As we understood yesterday, first 1 month we are going to spend only to make sure we are comfortable with the system, SAP terminology, SAP points and all. Am I clear? So here, nothing wrong in not knowing anything. It's purely okay. It's good that you do not know many things so that you will get to know all the prerequisite points before you get good command, good knowledge on FICO, with which when you go to the market, when you talk to anybody, you should be comfortable. Other person should also feel confident. Remember, your confidence is not okay. You need to make the other person feel confidence with your understanding, with your knowledge. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Your confidence is not okay. You need to let the other person feel confidence with your knowledge. For this, normal effort is not enough. A little extra effort is required. Am I correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are right.
For you to get a job tomorrow, your confidence is not okay. You need to let the interviewer also feel confident that yes, if I select this candidate, he can perform. For him to feel confident, you should know the way you need to talk, the explanation that you need to give, the way you convince the other person with your understanding, with your knowledge, with your experience, with your example should be something different. For that, a little extra effort is what we need to put. When you know that a little extra effort you need to put right from the beginning, tomorrow there is no surprise for you. When I say tomorrow there is no surprise, I mean to say as you move forward, things should be simplified, not complicated. Clear? Initially, if I tell SAP is very simple, just like you create a company code, chart of account. If I tell you simple things at the beginning, as we move forward, I know things are complicated, but you do not know that you may be thinking that it's very simple. I'm able to create company chart of account just like that. I thought it's very tough, but this is in fact very easy. But that is not reality. Reality is something else. So when you're learning, as you move forward, things are supposed to be simplified, not complicated. So for you to get simplified things, you need to start with complicated things. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Alright. If I'm making you feel comfortable now, tomorrow I have to make you get scared. So if I talk different points now, as we move forward, there is nothing beyond this. Whatever the points or scenarios that we discuss are extreme at your level. So even if you are preparing at 50% at what we are discussing, it is more than sufficient when you are in the market. Whatever we are discussing now, if you are comfortable at least 50% of it, you are very good in the market. Definitely, I know whatever I teach, whatever you listen, whatever you prepare, whatever you practice, 100% you will not deliver. Agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So I will ensure whatever I explain it to you is beyond your level. And in that, even if you are able to meet a 50%, even if you are able to explain 50% confidently, you are selected wherever you go. You are selected wherever you go. Do not get scared, because we are considering all the complicated, complex scenarios which are possible at a worst case situation. Tomorrow, if you get a job, straight away you are asked to work in the client location. I don't want you to have any fear. I want you to be very comfortable, very relaxed working in the client location on day one. So when you know all the situations, when you're in the client location, whatever is happening around you, whatever people are asking you, whatever the way you're discussing with the people, whatever work you're doing in the project is supposed to be same thing, is supposed to be similar thing what you understood here. There should be no surprise. There should be nothing new. You will figure out there. In fact, you should feel it is very simple, but he told me very complicated things. That time you're confident or not?
Confident.
All right. When I tell you
Yes.
different things which will make you scared, which will make you afraid, when you actually go to the situation, it is not that much complicated. It is not that much serious. You feel that it's very simple. Why he said like that? At that situation, you will be uncomfortable or you will be comfortable.
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 Definitely will be comfortable, because according to you, whatever you have seen, whatever you have heard is nowhere relatable to it, right? You feel things are very simple, cool, calm, and nobody is giving me so many things. I'm able to understand whatever they are telling. You feel relaxed. Your target is supposed to be that. Tomorrow, when you're in the project, you need to feel confident, you need to feel comfortable, you need to feel relaxed. For that, you need to put effort, you need to tune your mind in this way. Tomorrow, let nobody create fear in you. If somebody is trying to create fear, if somebody is trying to put you in pressure and all, you are in a position to easily handle it. Because all these circumstances, all these situations, scenarios you will experience with me only. Tomorrow when you go, even in your interview, you will realize my interview is very simple. Even in the interview, you will realize my interview is very simple. As we start the interview sessions and all, you will get to know. You will be talking to the different people who attended interviews. You will be getting the questions who attended the interviews, and we will be discussing interview questions. I will be asking a mock interview questions in the session. You will be experiencing different points as we move forward, with which tomorrow when you're in the market, when you're talking to anybody in any situation, you will be comfortable, confident enough to manage without any fear. From the subject point of view, there is no need to get feared because you are completely filled up with right content, whatever is required for you to be competitive in the market. All you need to do is take things seriously, put efforts practically, okay, and then try to understand whatever is not understanding or whatever you find it is a little tricky, you're not able to understand, please make sure you ask me in the session. Don't leave it stating that I'm not able to understand, because the simple understanding points only, basic fundamental errors only will create a problem, which we will not realize. So make sure on the basic fundamentals you are clear, you are comfortable, with which you will be able to talk to anybody. When I say with which you will be able to talk to anybody, and tomorrow when you're talking to somebody, ensure nobody will say that you are a trained candidate. Your target should be that even if you tell that you are a trained candidate, other person should not believe. You getting my point? What is your target? Even if you tell somebody that you are SAP trained candidate, other person should not believe you. That's all. Simple. Put your effort to achieve this.
Okay.
Even if you tell I got SAP training from XYZ, they should not believe. Otherwise, what will happen? Even if you tell that I'm experienced in 4 years, 5-year SAP FICO experience, they'll simply put a question: where did you learn SAP FICO? How many years of experience you put? These questions are revealing that the way you're talking, the way you're explaining is nowhere related to a work experienced candidate. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes even if you tell you are working, other person will not believe you because of your confidence, because of your knowledge, because of your subject. These situations should not come in your picture. Ensure these are all the possible points that you will be facing in future. Address, avoid these points right from the beginning. All right, fine then. The remaining points which we will be discussing from tomorrow onwards. Okay, let's close for today. We'll connect at the same time tomorrow in the evening. Good night.
Good.
Good night.